Dramatization.
After a car wreck, you may have to fight with a highly trained insurance company rep whose job is to knock your damage claim down and out. It's a bad idea to enter the ring alone against a trained boxer, and it could be a bad idea to fight against a big insurance company by yourself. When the bell rings, attorney Dennis Sperling will be there to fight for your rights. If you've been seriously injured in a car wreck, call me, attorney Dennis Sperling, at 866-529-2444. That's 866-529-2444.
Dramatization.
Bad drivers cause car wrecks. Not paying attention to the road, operating electronic devices, and drinking while driving can lead to serious injuries. If you've been the victim of a bad driver, a trial lawyer may be able to help you recover money to pay your medical bills, reimburse you for lost wages, and compensate you for the pain caused by your injuries. If you, your friends, or family have been injured in a car wreck, contact me, attorney Dennis Sperling, toll free, 866-529-2444. I'm here to help.
Hi, my name is Dennis Sperling. I'm not a lawyer, but my daddy is.
Yeah, if you've been hurt in a car accident, call my daddy.
No need to scream and yell like a little kid.
Yeah, no yelling.
My daddy will fight for your rights.
Yeah, fight for your rights.
If you've been involved in a car accident, call my daddy, attorney Dennis Sperling.
Hello, I'm attorney Dennis Sperling. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call me at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy.
Hi, my name is Stephanie, and these are my two adorable and handsome sons. And that is my ex-husband, attorney Dennis Sperling. He practices personal injury law and will be more than happy to help you with claims arising from automobile accidents. He doesn't get paid unless you get paid. And as we first wives know, the more our ex-husbands get paid, the more we get paid. So let me help him help you. Call Mr. Sperling at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy.
I'm Dennis Sperling. I don't want you going around picking on anybody, and I don't want you to be a bully. It's my job as father to prepare my sons for what's out there.
Anthony, my trainer, is your trainer.
That's my trainer now.
Yeah. Drop. No good.
Every kid needs to have that lesson.
How's it going with those slabs? They have a sign on them. They're for sale, right?
Roman, wax on, wax off, like that.
Right now, she and I are negotiating. I'm trying to get her to do some dances for me. Some of them sweet, sexy Latina booty dances. That's what I'm talking about. Yep, that's it.
Africans are Africans, brothers and sisters. My Dominican Republic Africans are Africans, brothers and sisters. They might speak Spanish, they might be a little lighter than the rest of us, but they are African. You know how I know? Because the Dominican Republic queens are 5'5", thick in the thighs. They are African. Believe me. Believe me. Yes, the revolutionary pan-African fast. What are we up to? We up to the... We must stay focused, my brothers, in the Dominican Republic. We must stay focused.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to me, man. Uncle D has been missing for a minute. As you guys know, I took a little quick sabbatical for a lot of different reasons, man. First of all, let me just give a shout out to all my folks, man. Thank you guys so much. If you can hear me clearly, hit the #1 button. Let me know you can hear me clearly. And remember, first and foremost, Google / YouTube takes 70% of whatever you guys give me. So instead of paying me through the super chats and the cash apps, the super chats and whatnot, there's my cash app right there. If you appreciate what you've heard when it's time, man, just let me know in that regard, man. Of course, big shout out to Arrowhead. Big shout out to all you guys, man. All my wrench mob, man. Let's keep it cool, man. I got a really special treat for you all tonight, man. I want to and it involves I see my man Joe Martin in here, Mr. 43TX. Look, man, I love y'all. I miss y'all a lot. You know what I'm saying? But if you can look on my face and see the joy and happiness on my face, and that has a lot to do with this. Let me bring these three fellas in here, man. These are the these fellas behind me, man. These are the gems in my crown. You know, two of them. Of course, we all know. You know, my oldest son, the heir apparent, and then of course, you know, the Crimson Son, and the little fella in the back with the the little red-looking afro is my youngest son, Elijah. And it has been these. Let me just be real frank with you. So, my journey to YouTube, my journey to the manosphere, even though Uncle D is no longer part of the manosphere, was because I went through a bad divorce. I did the best I could with the co-parenting. These gentlemen here will tell you that the major reason that I took them to so many activities is because otherwise I would only be able to see them 2 weekends a month. You know, for me, I stretched out to 3 weekends a month. But at the end of the day, I came up with the activities so I can have a reason to pick you up from school, spend 30 minutes driving you there, watch you play or do your martial arts for 30 an hour, and then bring you back. You see what I'm saying? So that cost me a whole lot of money. But bottom line is I did that for about 10 years. Now, somewhere around 2015, about 4 years after my divorce, this young man in the back over here, I met his beautiful, lovely mom, and we conceived this beautiful, handsome child right here. And unfortunately, like most women, moms feel like, moms know best, and they typically don't want to share with dad, which is understandable. I get it. And it's unfortunate because the legal system allows them to do that. And that was my journey into the manosphere. So I got here legitimately. I'm not some angry dude who was mad hiding out in my mama's basement, mad because I couldn't get a girlfriend. My problem was I had a situation where I had children that I loved, that I wanted to be with, and the legal system and society is set up so that it prevents fathers from being able to be the fathers that they want to be. And so beginning around 2015, 3 years after my divorce, that's when I discovered YouTube. I discovered what we call the red pill. And that took me on the journey. And here we are, 9 years later or 8 years later, having learned so much, recognizing that there are so many men out there who are dealing with the same thing I'm dealing with as fathers. And unfortunately, unless this system changes, my sons will have to deal with the same thing that I have to deal with: parental alienation, unfair child support, and all these different things, because it gives these women here in the United States an advantage. But nevertheless, man, I'm happy that I've been finally, after some hard years of litigation and literally, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, I'm able to reunite my family. It doesn't mean the fight is over, because at the time when mom decides she don't want to cooperate, then we got to go back to court, and because of the tender years doctrine, it is what it is. But fellas, meet everybody. Say hello to everybody. Hello. So I'm not going to hold these gentlemen up. It's a school night. And so I'm going to send you guys off to bed. Crimson Sun, I'm sure he'll be back soon to do some more movie reviews. I know you got a lot of
on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles. Okay. And then, okay, what?
You watched that.
You watched that? Yeah, that's right. You enjoy hanging out with your big brothers? Yeah. All right, that's cool. What about and Dennis, of course, is on his way to college. Look, he don't like me saying this, but we trying to set him up with a nice, beautiful young woman of African descent, right? Daddy wants you to get you one of them black girls and take her to the prom, right? So I've already talked to his godmother, who's a sister from Nigeria. She gonna put the word out. And then my fiance, who's Dominican, she gonna try to find him one. And then I'm gonna go to my church in Fifth Ward, and we're gonna try to find him a nice, young, decent, young African-American woman, a woman of African descent, to take to your prom, baby. Okay? And we trying to help you, bro. I don't have a problem with arranged marriages. Okay, if you want to take any one of these gentlemen off my hand once they get of suitable age, you in the back too, right? We want to get some nice little brown faced children around here. Uncle D wants some little brown babies to be my grandkids. But nevertheless, fellas, I want to thank y'all. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And let me go ahead and get back to the broadcast. Say goodbye to everybody. Bye. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get this show on the road. Big shout out to the Sterling fam. Oh yeah, big shout out to the little fellas, man. I am looking for a date for that boy. We need to, because Roman said he don't have no Riz. I don't know exactly what Riz is, but we gonna help him. We're gonna get him a pretty little black girl to go out on his prom date with, and make sure it's a police escort and so on and so forth. I'm that type of daddy. Nevertheless, as I said, welcome back to the broadcast. I hope y'all been watching Co-Parenting with the Spurlers, man. Episode 8 wrapped up, and it was a good one, man. So we got another 8. We got another 8 episodes coming through, and I hope you guys find it wholesome. I hope you guys appreciate it. But nevertheless, here's the thing, man. The subject matter for tonight is is one of my favorite public figures. Let's take a look at how this all started. So this is a video that I actually, are y'all with me? Hit the #1 button if y'all with me, baby. Hit the #1 button if you all are with me. Oh yeah, big. Oh, you know what? Let me give a big shout out to me too. Some of you guys are wondering, where you been, Uncle D? What you been up to, man? As you guys know, I've been my sons are in Rillian Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. They do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu amongst other things. And I just was awarded, earned my blue belt. Man, and I mean, let me tell you something. It took me 7 years to start rolling. And I just sat on the bench. I just watched my sons do. I'm like, man, I'm not trying to get out there and do all that. And let me tell you, that first probably 6 months of hitting the floor and getting back up, the bruises and the initial conditioning of just falling down and getting back up every damn time, man. It was hard, especially at my age, because remember, I started at 47 and I haven't done any serious, like other than lifting weights and jogging and a little boxing every now and then. I hadn't really done anything that strenuous since I played football. But God is good, man, and I was able to get my blue belt, and it was awarded to me by Master Rillian. You see, Uncle D is a very large man. Funny thing, this is this is my Professor Homolo, and he called. He's like, yeah, I was a what do you call this white belt nightmare. You'll hear him say that. Yeah. So he called me a white belt nightmare because like, you don't really have guys who are 6'5", 300 pounds who are white belts. And then the ability to be able to handle myself, really, you guys don't realize, but years of boxing and playing football and jumping rope, I'm real light on my feet. And so when you get somebody my size down there, it's hell, no matter what your belt is. But bottom line is, so he would match me up with visiting black belts, people who higher belts when they come visit. He would match me up with them. And he also would match me up with guys who didn't come to practice enough. So maybe like for the past month since I've been kind of gone, I've been rolling 6 days a week, so like 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, just every day hitting the mat for an hour. And you guys can see I'm really slimming up tremendously there. But bottom line is, man, I've been busy selling a lot of cases and working real hard. And, of course, one thing I like to do, man, I've been spending a lot of time with my sons and just getting my youngest son reacclimated into what manhood requires, masculinity and being tough, and if I'll have him here in a couple more days before he goes back to his mom's. But I have him out here sparring, working with sensei. I got him in the backyard myself, teaching him basic boxing and whatnot. He's and amazingly, in the past 2 weeks, he's come a long way. So it's really just a matter of spending time with your sons, man. And crazy thing is, you see, he's 7 years old. So and if you see him standing next to Roman is only about 3 or 4 inches taller than him, and Roman's 13. My son is 15 inches taller than the average 7-year-old. So, I expect him to be a very tall, he hits real hard, great athleticism, but he's still 7. So it's still plenty of time for me to work with him. And I just thank God for you all, because you guys don't realize just how much you inspire me. And I mean that, man. Like, you guys, man, give yourself a big shout out. All you fellas, man, this is a wonderful community. And I know that black male content in general, because it's not really just a black thing anymore, but male content in general, it really keeps us inspired, man, because I know you're going through the same thing I'm going through. It keeps me motivated. It keeps me pushing forward. I know that I can be an inspiration for you. I can't quit because I don't want you to quit. You see what I mean? And I'm the type of person, I'm the type of leader that leads from the front. I would never ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. And that's the type of person I am, fam. I'm not going to tell you to fight this fight and go through court and deal with it if I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to push forward myself, man. And so, you know, I don't want y'all to ever see me quit fighting for my child. And, you know, hey, you know, we won a couple of battles and my boy is here. You know, it is what it is, man. It's not about the woman. It's about the relationship you have with your child, man. So, and I know many of you guys wish that your fathers had fought as hard for you as you would wanted them to, because your life would have been totally different. And I've explained that to my youngest son, like, son, I have to fight for you. I had to fight for you, because when you turn 16, even though you may understand, you know, why I gave up the fight, it was too hard, it cost too much, you still would look at me like, damn, but you let me down though. You see what I'm saying? So as a father, man, you just don't have any excuses, man. But anyway, let's go ahead and proceed forward with this this beautiful conversation that we're gonna have about one of our favorite subjects. But first, what we're gonna do is, man, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Oh, if she got her nipples pierced, got ass from here to here, then you know that she's a hoe. If she's on Instagram, her bio is an OnlyFans, she's out there selling that thing. See, I know you gon' trip finding out that your chick in Vegas drunk on the strip with no panties on. I know that you gon' say that your chick ain't that way. Miami, DR, Dubai, but you didn't go. Nigga, she's a hoe, hoe, hoe. And I think it's time, you know. Nigga, she's a hoe, hoe, hoe. And I think it's time, you know.
Welcome back. Big shout out to my man Alvin Holden. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the Cash App. And if you gave a Cash App and you don't want me to mention your name, just go ahead and type that in the chat room, man, because I know some of y'all want to keep it private. But again, what I'm trying to do is cut Google and YouTube out. You guys give me money, I don't want them to get it. They take 30%. You know, I know there's been a lot of demonetization going on here in YouTube. I'm here because y'all want me to be here. If y'all want me to be here, y'all will just either pay me through the Cash App, you know, that way y'all show your appreciation once you figured you learned something after this broadcast is over. I mean, you can donate at any point, but for the most part, man, I'm here to teach you guys something. Nevertheless, hope y'all been checking out Co-Parenting with the Sperling, but nevertheless, what we're here for tonight, praise God. Hallelujah. Can I get a praise God in the chat room? Can I get praise Moses in the chat room? Hallelujah. Let's get a praise Moses in the chat room. What do we see here? What we see here is a bunch of thick, fine, thick, super thick Dominican women, probably somewhere down in the DR, praise Moses. Hallelujah. Can we get a praise Moses in the chat room for these fine, beautiful Dominican women? Now, before we go any further, I think the surprise guest on this is that the good brother, a man who we all know and love and appreciate, this gentleman right here.
Africans are African.
The good brother, Dr. Umar Johnson, has the following to say about these sweet, beautiful Dominican women. Let's listen.
Brothers and sisters, my Dominican Republic Africans are Africans, brothers and sisters. They might.
My Dominican Republican sisters are Africans. What would Kevin Samuel say to this right now? Huh? He would probably say something like, you can't make this shit up. Listen to what he's saying. Now, apparently, first of all, he got some typical playing in the background. I don't know what he's sipping on, but it got him feeling good. Let's listen.
They speak Spanish. They might be a little lighter than the rest of us, but they are African.
Ain't that what the passport bros have been saying? Let's keep listening.
You know how I know? Because the Dominican Republic queens are 5'5", thick in the thighs. They are African.
Okay, so he's saying that the reason that they're African is because they're 5'5", thick in the thighs. I would not accept that as just an answer by itself. Them being 5'5", thick in the thighs mean they fine, I'm sure. But big shout out to Timothy Hennigan and my man Turner Derrick and Eric F. Jennings. But there's got to be a better answer than that, brother. You can't just say just because they're fine. So does that mean all the women around the world, when they're fine, they have African descent? What about when they get unfine? What about you get your fine, cute Dominican Samoan woman, and then by the time she hit 28, she's swole up? I don't think so, brother. But let's keep listening. We're gonna give them a better answer than that. But let's keep listening.
Believe me. Believe me. Yes, the revolutionary Pan-African fast.
It's almost like he thought about it and he had to come back and say, yes, I'm still a revolutionary Pan-African.
What are we up to? We up to the...
Hold on. Look at him looking. Oh, man. Look at that. Look at my boy. Look at my boy. This dude is a cockhound. This dude is a vagina hunter. Let's keep listening, man. Oh, goodness. Hold on. I lost it for. Let's pull it back.
We up to the... We must stay focused, my brothers.
Somebody type "stay focused" in the chat room. Somebody type "stay focused" in the chat room. Praise God.
We must stay focused.
We must stay focused. So here's the thing, brothers. And you know I got a lot to say about this, and I literally, I was gonna come out of my little hiatus early to talk about this because it's just necessary. Now, basically, Dr. Umar Johnson says he's all for the DR now at this point. And I don't know if he was in the DR, if he was at the Dominican Day Parade or wherever he was at. But if you got your Prince of Pan-Africanism, Pandering, and now he's a part-time passport bro, then it's officially over for the Black community related to the exclusivity of Black men only dating Black American women, okay? Apparently, the passport bros have opened his eyes, and we understand why. You see, even Dr. Umar Johnson is done with the American woman, the Black American woman, and I hope the sisterhood is seeing this trend. And it's a wrap anyway. If Dr. Umar Johnson is now basically low-key saying passport bros, because you can't say Dominican women are African and then not say Colombian women or Brazilian women aren't African when there are more Africans in the DR in Brazil than there are people of African descent in the DR in Brazil than there are in the DR. The deal is over. The deal is sealed. And here's the thing. The only reason that it's over, fellas, is because, as our good brother Kevin Samuels used to say, the only reason it's over is because American Black women don't feel that Black men are worthy to compete over. In other words, they're not willing to compete with women of other races for Black men. Now, here's the thing. It appears that after the good brother Dr. Umar Johnson went down to the Dominican Republic, the women got him sprung. You see? You can see his eyes scanning the room. I know what he's looking at. I've been there before. I know just what he's looking at. When he started looking at them senoritas, first thing came to mind is we must stay focused. Somebody type "stay focused" in the chat room. You understand what I'm saying? Huh? Now, I wasn't expecting him to say this. I never thought this would come from him because this messes up his bag. You know, he got Typico playing in the background, no puedo. And they're all gorgeous, coming down in the single file line, one after the other, like a bunch of beautiful, lovely candy paint slabs in the car line in Houston, Texas, swerving and swinging and banging down MLK on the Sunday. It's a beautiful thing, baby. It's a beautiful thing. And I mean, you know, he's not lying. They are just, and of course, you're going to choose a woman like that over a big ass Big Shirley. You see? Now, my question to you all, and I know some of you all who have been down with Umar for years, you know, he's like, you know, what's up with the school, Doc? I see another fundraiser effort on the horizon now to help him relocate the school down to Sasua. You see what I'm saying? That's where it's going. Say it ain't so, Dr. Umar, down there tricking in the DR. You know, you went over there and got your world rocked. Huh? What are donations that you were supposed to build a school? Now you're a passport, bro. Now you need a passport expense fund. Huh? I'm really impressed by this man's ability to spew all this nonsense that he spews with a straight face, especially now since he's totally flipped the script. The queendom, ladies, you just lost one. It's so silly. How come? You just lost one. Umar went down to the promised land, and now he sees the light. And of course, you know, KK Keisha, Zaddy's little helper, is going to be livid about this. Now, let's analyze what happened. I don't know what happened, but let's think about it. He might be running from Sukiana in that disaster. Y'all know who I'm talking about. You know, Suki with the good coochie. Gave him something he couldn't wash off. Now he's running in the opposite direction. This dude flip-flops. He went over there trying to correct Suki, right? Telling her what she need to be doing. The next thing you know, she's on the cover of a magazine or album cover, hugged up on some white dudes. You know, I guess that particular meeting with Sukiana pushed them over the top, pushed them over the edge. I mean, you know, it didn't take, you know, it didn't take much. He might have just inhaled some red pill dust, you know, and came to his senses. But even before that, you guys remember how he got embarrassed on Fox Soul? And I'm getting to a point. I want y'all to hear something. Remember what happened to Dr. Umar Johnson on Fox Soul? They had him on there flirting with a tranny, my sister, my beautiful sister. And turned out that was a whole man they had on there with an Adam's apple that he was flirting with. So the man is obviously embarrassed. He's lost a lot of faith amongst black men specifically. And if you don't have the respect of your brothers, you're soon not going to have the respect of black women. Remember, and I want y'all to hear this. KK Keisha, Zaddy's little helper, always breaks her tools after she's through with them, just like Zaddy taught her. You understand what I'm saying? KK Keisha always breaks her simp tools after she's through with them, just like Zaddy taught her. Are we clear? I'm surprised that this man didn't just go all the way the opposite way and start swimming in the mayonnaise. You see, at least he stopped with the mocha lattes. Keep in mind, just a few months back, this brother was talking bad about the passport bros. Mind you, he calls himself a pan-Africanist. But he talking bad about passport bros. These are men who want to exercise their options to date. The vast majority of these men like women of color. I tell brothers all the time, my preference is for you to date women of African descent. That's my preference for you. But that's the same advice I give to my sons. But at the end of the day, you're grown men, and you have to do what makes you happy. But back to Dr. Umar, man. He windmilling about passport bros on the Daily Wrap-Up crew last month. He went from the perspective that any type of woman that you get who is overseas is you just getting leftovers. He even had a problem with brothers who are dating women in Thailand, the dark-skinned Asian sisters, even Latinos. He's saying you getting leftovers. He's saying they don't want you. Saying they're not Africans, and all of a sudden you down in the Dominican Republic saying these sisters are African. So, and what did he say? 5'5" with thick thighs. So basically you're saying your small head determined who's part of the black community. Got it. That just makes him a simp, and that's why you brothers don't respect him. He's played out amongst black American brothers. We tired of him. And all I can say is, oh, how the tables have turned. We got you in 8K, Dr. Johnson, being an undercover passport bro, saying the same thing that the brother's been saying for years. You sounding like a passport bro, but only when it suits him. And the hypocrisy is obvious, even for him. That's why he had to come back on the second half of that clip and correct himself. But the thing is, Dr. Umar Johnson is probably the only black man in America who could join the passport bro movement and still pander to black women and get the bag. He ain't slick. Somebody say he ain't slick. Somebody say he ain't slick. Somebody type he ain't slick in the chat room. He ain't slick. We know he trying to get that Jared Jackson bag. But you a passport bro low key. We know that. Dr. Umar, you a 304. You got 2 baby mamas. You said you have multiple wives. I mean, it's a really sad situation because you got all these women who believe in your rhetoric, and now they just gonna look at you as just another black man. The truth is, bro, you a cockhound. You a vagina hound. And you go wherever the vagina and the money is made. That's you. Nevertheless, fellas, you heard it. You boys heard it from the Pan-African prince of Pandering himself. It's time for you to visit the DR and find you an African queen. Somebody type African queen in the chat room. Somebody type African queen in the chat room. That's what he said. But see, here's the problem, and I want you to understand something. Now you're going to learn something, okay? You're going to learn something. Hang in here. You're going to learn something. A lot of Dominican women don't consider themselves black. They don't label themselves black. It's only in recent years that some Dominicans have embraced their African ancestry and put that at the forefront of their racial identity. But most still don't do that. Amari La Negra was one of the first Dominican women who made it popular in America and was telling everyone she's a black Dominican. And then the other thing you got to understand is there are a lot of Dominicans who just don't look like sub-Saharan Africans, period. Let's analyze this. Let's have an honest conversation. And the only way we can have an honest conversation is if we talk about the facts and the history. Now, y'all ready to learn something? Somebody type learn something in the chat room, because that's what we do on this page, man. We make sense out of the world that we live in. And I want y'all to understand this. And if you learn something, when I'm finished, if you learn something, man, contribute to the super chat. But in the meantime, you might learn something already. Go ahead and do that. Contribute to the Cash App, I mean. So African slaves, Santo Domingo. Santo Domingo was what the island of Hispaniola was called. The island of Hispaniola now has 2 countries, Haiti and Dominican Republic. But it was once called Santo Domingo. And between the 16th and 18th centuries, African slaves were brought there en masse. What happened? Well, they were unable to use the Native American or Tainos and force them into agricultural labor. And so the settlers began to import captive Africans. They couldn't get them Tainos to do it. They wouldn't work. The Spanish were the ones in charge of Santo Domingo or the Dominican Republic or Hispaniola. And the Spanish monarchs, Ferdinand I, Isabella, granted permission to the colonists of the Caribbean to import African slaves in 1501. Mind you, Columbus, that was the first place he went, was Santo Domingo in the Caribbean. He never actually made it to America. So 1492, here we are, 9 years later. Go ahead and start bringing them Negroes over there and putting them to work. The Portuguese and Spanish were already dealing in slaves from their trading posts along the West African coast anyway. So it was really just no big deal just to start shipping them over to Hispaniola. The first captive Africans were sold as slaves in Santo Domingo in 1503. Slavery, here's the thing. I want y'all to hear this. Listen to me, fam. This is important. Listen to this. Slavery was not a major institution in this early Spanish colony. It wasn't major there. This was because Santo Domingo, at the time, the entire island of Hispaniola was not a very successful colony. Okay? It wasn't very successful. They didn't have a lot of slaves there. After the gold deposits were exhausted, the focus of the Spanish moved west. Where did they go? They went to Mexico and they went to South America. And only a small number of Spaniards remained in perhaps, maybe only a few hundred. Many of those were children, they were children of Spanish fathers and Taino mothers. So they weren't really Spanish, they were mixed. And so they weren't accepted in Spain. They were the ruling class on the island, but that's all they had, okay? The principal economic activity back then was livestock, okay? It wasn't picking tobacco, it wasn't sugar cane, it was livestock. Columbus introduced cattle and pigs to the island. Many had escaped and ran wild and they multiplied in the wild. And the Spanish settlers began raising livestock. And there was a ready market for that. This is not a labor-intensive job. You let them out, they eat. People pull their boats by, you sell them. And oftentimes what happened was the Spanish ships sailing by the island en route for Mexico and Panama and Peru, they would stop at Santo Domingo to get new supplies. So here's the thing. Few slaves were needed to support this economy. And when I talk about slaves, I'm talking about African slaves. So you're already seeing something here. You're seeing that there was not a huge population of Africans from Africa in Hispaniola in the first place, or Santo Domingo. Despite having large areas of suitable land, Spanish settlers in Santo Domingo never did not develop important sugar. In other words, they never did develop an important sugar industry there. So it wasn't a whole lot of, sugar cane. Given the value of sugar, it's not clear why the Spanish did not develop sugar industry. But whatever the reason, the Dominicans did not import a large number of slaves. So what does that tell you? By the time, from the point in time slavery started until it ended, comparatively speaking, you never had a lot of Africans in the DR. So we're not talking about a place like Jamaica or Haiti, which is the butt end of Hispaniola. That's not what we're talking about, okay? Are y'all with me? Are y'all learning something? I hope you don't get mad, but I want you to understand something. I want you to understand why these people that we call Dominican, which Dr. Umar Johnson seems to be fascinated with at this point, he's claiming that these people are African. Now, this is not something that I got up. This is something you can get from children in history, okay? This is common knowledge, okay? So, and the link is right here. You can find it, okay? So I just put that up there to let y'all know I didn't make this up. Now, the thing you want to ask yourself, because there wasn't a whole lot of Africans there, this is why phenotypically speaking, when I say phenotype, I'm talking about the outside. Phenotypically speaking, Dominicans, they have African ancestry, but it's not the dominant. It's not the dominant trait. They don't have the dominant African traits, more so than the multiple other different ethnic groups that comprise their population. Nevertheless, there's a large percentage that are of African descent, but those traits of the sub-Saharan Africans do not dominate. They're phenotypes. Let me give you some more facts. Y'all with me or y'all bored? Let me know. Let me know if you're with me. If you're with me, hit the number 1 button. I want to educate. All right. So the Dominican Republic, here's some facts that you may not know. The Dominican Republic is the second largest nation in the Antilles by area. Okay, it is, it's about 19,000 square miles. It's the third largest population. It has about 10.7 million people as of 2022. They lost 100,000 people since 20,000. I'm thinking because of the beer virus, people left. But either way, about 3.3 million people live in Santo Domingo, which is the capital city. And the official language is Spanish. Now, here's the breakdown I want you guys to understand, and I want you to be very clear to understand this. And you can get this information from www.worldatlas.com, and it breaks down the ethnicity of the Dominican people. And see, it's important for you to understand why they don't call themselves as a whole African, or why they don't call themselves as a group Black, okay? They do have people who call themselves Black, but for the most part, they categorize themselves as follows, okay? You have mulatto, you have mestizo or multiracial mixed ancestry. Those three groups, okay, make up about 72% of the population, and they are the majority of the country. They are descendants from racial integration between Black, white, and some Taino. Okay, so they're not calling themselves Black, even though they have African ancestry. They have, if you look at their driver's license, some of them call themselves Indio, some of them call themselves mulatto. They have different racial categories. They also have a racial category for white and Black. Okay, but the total population of the 10.8 million people on the island, 8 million of them are mulatto, mestizo, or multiracial. In other words, they're mixed. The white Dominicans, their ancestors, they make up about 16% of the entire population. All right, and how did they get there? Their presence on the island dates back to its founding when European settlers came to the Americas. They were looking for gold. We talked about that. And the minerals attracted the Spaniards, and they sought wealth. And their attempts to enslave the natives was unsuccessful. And many of the natives succumbed to diseases. And, the ones that were left didn't make good slaves. And so once everything was depleted, those white Spaniards left. They went to Mexico. They went to Venezuela. In the 18th century, there was a surge of white population. In other words, more white people came, and they added to the region for more colonial and continued forth with colonialization. And when the area attained independence, their numbers decreased again, but some remained behind. And they were the ancestors of the current white Dominicans. Now, the Black African ancestors, the Black Dominicans, there's a category of people who call themselves Black Dominicans. Not all Dominicans, even though 70% of them, according to these statistics, 72% of them have African descent. Only 11% consider themselves Black Dominicans. 11%. Okay? They are the descendants of the former slaves. And remember, there wasn't a whole lot of what? Africans brought to, there wasn't a whole lot of Africans, comparatively speaking. There wasn't a whole lot of Africans brought to the Dominican Republic because what? They focused more on cattle as opposed to some of these other things like tobacco and sugar cane, which were labor intensive. All right, so you got 11% of African descent. And when slavery was abolished, they remained free citizens who could not go back, but they settled and stayed in the country. Okay? Most of the Africans are from West and Central African regions. Now, here's the other thing. There's 1% of the populations that are Arabs, Asians, and other groups. 1%. Okay? And some have been moving to the continent to work in agricultural lands. So you got all kinds of different people there. But so listen to the breakdown, fam. I want y'all to hear this. So when Dr. Umar Johnson says they're all these African queens, yeah, they don't acknowledge themselves as African because for the most part, they're multiracial, and they didn't have a super large population of Africans in the Dominican Republic. They're mixed. 72% of them are mulatto, mestizo, multiracial. But unlike this country, in the United States, the one drop rule doesn't apply. On top of that, it's more precise for them to say I'm mulatto as opposed to saying I'm white or I'm black, because they have a class of people who are white and they have a class of people who are black. The 16% who are white and the 11% who are black. They have groups of people to classify themselves in. So when you go there, a lot of them are not going to say, no, I'm black. I got friends who are black, but I'm not black. But you look like you have African descent. Yeah, I also have, European descent and maybe some Taino descent. So that's their cultural thing. Now, here's the thing I want you to understand. And let's slide back to Dr. Umar. I want you to hear it. See, he's flip-flopping and pitching and catching, okay? He knows that the DR in Africa has some beautiful women. And now he considers Dominican women African so he can expand his dating pool. We all know that they have African descent. They know that they have African descent, but they don't acknowledge themselves as African. They will say, for the most part, we are 70, like they say, we're mixed people. There's a group of 11% who are African, but here's the thing. When you look at it, we think he's flip-flopping. And I said that a minute ago. But at the end of the day, it sounds neither inconsistent nor incompatible to me. Insofar as he says stay away from those Asian countries, because those folks clearly aren't black. I get where he's coming from. He's a pan-Africanist. Okay? And as a pan-Africanist, pan-Africanist, when we refer to pan-Africanism, it's an ideology. It's a movement that encourages the solidarity of Africans worldwide. And it's based on the belief that unity is vital to the economic, social, political progress and aims to unify and uplift people of African descent worldwide. So I get it. The ideology asserts that the fates of all African people and countries are intertwined. Pan-Africanist, intellectual, cultural, and political movements tend to view all Africans and descendants of Africans as belonging to a single race and sharing cultural identity. So here's the thing. What's happened in the United States, fam, is we've taken something called nationalism or Black nationalism and made it exclusive to what is African Americanism. In other words, if you can trace your heritage over the past few generations to some slave plantation in Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, so on and so forth, then you're Black American, okay? That's a nationalistic view. It's kind of like what Trump is. Trump is a nationalist. But when you look at the roots of Black nationalism, let's analyze that. Black nationalism itself was a political and social movement that became prominent in the 1960s and the early 70s in the United States, and it gained popularity amongst Black Americans. The movement sought to acquire economic power and to infuse among Black people a sense of community and group feeling. Here's the crazy part. It was made popular, or the roots of nationalism can be traced back to Marcus Garvey and his Universal Negro Improvement Association in the 1920s. What do we know about Dr. Marcus Garvey? What do we know about Marcus Garvey? Marcus Garvey was a Jamaican. Okay? All right? And what's happened was a lot of people have taken this Black nationalism and brought it over into the dating scene. And basically, and our lovely ladies have done this. If you can't date these women from overseas, even if they are of African descent, because that makes you a sellout. That makes you anti-Black American. All sorts of crazy warped things like that. But that's not what it was. That's not what the intent was. Hold on, let me get a little drink from a jelly jar. Oh, give me a minute. It's been a minute. I got to get my voice back strong. Yelling at the internet all night is hard. Speaking of, are y'all with me? Make sure y'all hit the number 1 button. Make sure y'all with me, man. Hit the number 1 button, all right? But we back. So, you know, some of the other players, Stokely Carmichael, he's from Trinidad. Malcolm X, his mother was from Guyana. So, you know, these are people, you know, they would never want us to be excluding other people of African descent in the name of Black nationalism. All right. So when I listen to Dr. Umar, it's like, okay, bro, you finally come around. You get it. This him saying, yeah, go get you a woman of African descent, even if she's from Dominican Republic, makes sense to me. It makes more sense than him saying you are only allowed to date women of African descent, even if they are not going to be the best wives for you. All right. Now, that's it. You know, I want to go ahead and open the chat room. I ain't talked to you fellas in a minute, man. The floor is open. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I know y'all learned something because now you understand more about the color dynamic in the DR and why they don't consider themselves Black. Even though they acknowledge their African roots, they're saying we're not Black because you equate Black with being pure African. We have 11% of our population. That would be no different than having them say I'm white. Just because they say I'm not Black doesn't mean they're saying I'm white. They're saying I'm something else. I'm mulatto, I'm Indio, I'm mestizo, I'm something other than that. They're being more precise with the description of who they are. So let's not judge these people for that. Now, of course, colorism exists everywhere. I mean, you know, it is what it is. It's part of the social construct at this point. But, you know, I know y'all learned something. I know y'all picked up something. So let's do this. I want y'all to, if you appreciate what I've done, you appreciate the research and time I put into this, man, then go ahead and pay me for my time. That's what I want you to do. So far, we got a good little bit of super chats in here. We got, not super chat, we got some cash apps in here, and I'm going to read them off later on. But for the most part, man, we need to get some more, okay? I want to get some more cash apps, and this is a welcome back, Uncle D. We're going to keep teaching. We're going to keep learning. We're going to keep vibing. We're going to vibe, and we're going to keep building ourselves up. But at this time, it's time for y'all to pay me for my time. And until you pay me for my time, I'm going to let y'all go ahead. Praise God. I'm going to let y'all go ahead and be with Jesus. Amen.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright
When I
make it happy. I'll be all pull up my long white rope.
so
Already drowned. When I make it to heaven.
Right, Sharon.
When I make it to heaven. When I make it to heaven. I'll be alright.
I wanna go to
heaven. Oh, heaven.
I wanna go to
Heaven.
I wanna go
Oh, heaven.
where the streets of there
Heaven.
are paved with gold.
Heaven.
I wanna go to
Heaven.
I wanna
Oh, heaven.
I wanna feast on milk,
Heaven.
milk and honey.
Heaven.
I wanna find my trouble,
Heaven.
my trouble.
Oh, heaven.
When I make it to
Heaven.
make it to heaven.
Heaven.
When I make it to
Heaven.
make it to
Oh, heaven.
I'm gonna
Put on my long white robe.
Say, cornbread.
My long white robe.
When I make it to heaven,
Put on my long white robe.
I'm gonna
Put on my long white robe.
and then
Lord, walk down low.
yes, sir.
Walk down low. I walk down low. I walk down low. Oh, walk down low. Walk down low. Walk down low.
Y'all better come on.
See,
Yeah.
a KG.
You got to let
Lord,
me
a KG. See,
Oh yeah, come on here.
KG.
Come on, Alpha.
Mayo.
What she feel like it?
Mayo.
You better say. I made it over the rock. I made it.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. Thank you guys so much, man. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to everybody who contributed to the Cash App here. And the next thing I want to let you guys know, is the link to come on in is in the chat room. And I got to make sure I give a big shout out to everybody who contributed. Big shout out to my man, MC Harris. Thank you for the $5. GC, thank you for the $5. Andrew Love, Willie Blair, Mr. Ward, Carlton Terrell, Michael Roberts. Thank you so much, man. Absalom, Naimi, oh my God. Nayamiki, thank you so much. Kevin Whitaker, thank you guys so much. Vantris Moss, Timpany and Hennigan, Turner, Derek, Eric F. Jennings, Alvin, of course, I got you earlier, and Randy, man. It's always good to have the fellas back in here. But what we're going to do is, look, the link is in the chat room, but before we get this thing cracking, I want to give I got a new video from my man Big Bass, DJ, man. The guy is dope. I'm talking to him now. I guess maybe we'll do something else together, like a project, something bigger. I haven't had a chance to get back to him, but man, the gentleman is real talented. But I think he got this one. This is perfect for this occasion. Y'all make sure y'all check this out, and we're going to be right back. The link is in the chat room. You guys join in. The link is in the chat room, but bam, here we go from Big Bass DJ. All these simps running around here, running amok, all these son husbands. It ain't just these single mothers' faults. Happy wife? No. Happy life. Y'all heard that before. That's the most simplest thing you can hear said.
Yeah. Welcome to Simp University. That's right. We got an all-star lineup. Yeah. We got Dr. Umar, Simp Jackson on the drums. Or Johnson. Yeah. We got Dr. Boogity Boyce Watkins on the tambourines. We got Derek, the Janky Jack Jackson singing back up. And this is the Simp Academy, baby. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. She just want that money anyway. She just want it. He don't give a fuck, he gon' pay. So he gon' pay it, baby. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. She just want that money anyway. He don't care, he don't give a fuck, he gon' pay. That's it. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. Work the Pimp C, I walk with a limp. This is for the donation niggas who got food. Been a decade running and still no school and no class. You keep asking for more cash. Academy growing, pucker up and kiss ass. These doctor, imposter, homie, you check the roster. Black women panda, sounds like you a scammer. Yeah. We lace them up like them Chuck tennis. We don't love these hoes, they screaming fuck Dennis. We holding court, ain't no love in it. Rather be the judge in it. Justice from you fuck niggas. Check game. Your mama gave you niggas all a simp chip. Now you simping A1 game, all on this simp shit. High degree having nigga talking this trick shit. What you gonna be teaching at that school, nigga? Pimp shit? This is for the simps at the academies. Listen to your mama pray. Fuck what your daddy say. Yeah. Nigga, you a simp. Nigga, you a simp. Yeah. This is for the simps at the academies. Listen to your mama pray. Fuck what your daddy say. Yeah. Nigga, you a simp. Yeah. My nigga, you a simp, yeah. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. She just want that money anyway. She just want it. He don't give a fuck, he gon' pay. He gon' pay it, baby. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. She just want that money anyway. He don't care, he don't give a fuck, he gon' pay. You niggas is soft as Wonder Bread, baby. You worse than King Kong trying to save mayonnaise minute. Sippin' is like Kool-Aid, and you niggas add extra sugar. Cause you sippin' niggas never had that booger. How can a rotten bitch raise a forgotten trick that turned into a switch hitter? You more concerned with alphabets and crayon colors. I'm not that nigga, and I'm definitely not that brother. So when the kingdom falls, and the she-heathen no longer pick up your call, and when we leave you simps swinging from these salty balls, best believe I got my attorney named Dennis Sperling on speed dial. And in the meanwhile, while simping ain't in my pimping, do not shake shit for me, baby. But you can shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp, shake it for him, shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp, shake it, shake it. She just want that money anyway. She just want that money. He don't give a fuck, he gon' pay. He gon' pay it, baby. Now shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp, shake it, shake it, shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp, shake it, shake it. She just want that money anyway. She just want the brain. He don't give a fuck, he gon' pay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Man, welcome back to the Money Say. Hey, man, somebody type "shake it for a simp" in the chat room. Let me get it.
We get that single, Uncle D.
Yeah, man, Big Bass DJ need to drop an album, man. Shake it for a simp. Oh, my goodness, man. The link is in the chat room, bro. Hey, welcome back. Welcome Black. Bro, welcome Black Samurai, man. It's good to have you here, man. I've been on a little brief hiatus, as you know. Enjoy my family and so on and so forth. But man, you know, I couldn't help but come back with this one. So is Dr. Umar Johnson a passport bro now?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And to me, you know, I thought he was trolling. And I don't know if you know, Obsidian Ali spoke about this before. You know, we seen the video and we conversated on it, and Omar is just the biggest hypocrite on the face of the earth. You know, to me, when I saw that clip and it's a sewer, like I don't know if you know, he was spotted on the beach before that clip came out. So the Dominican knew who he was, and when I saw that video, I knew like two of them chicks that was coming down them stairs. I knew one of the chicks with the leg tattoo, and the second to last chick with the white top.
So he was Dr. Umar down in Sasua, man.
now, if he's spending that school money,
come on, man.
Shame on you, Umar. Shame on you, Umar, because it's supposed to be for them kids, and them kids supposed to be reading them books.
Oh my goodness!
He's down there sipping them drinks and looking at you know what, you know.
And I that is if somebody really spotted him down in Sasua, I'd love to hear from them, man. But let's analyze. The link is in the chat room. Anybody want to come in and join? The floor is open. Let's take a listen.
Africans are Africans, brothers and sisters.
Dominican Republic Africans are Africans. They are not Africans. Africa is a continent. Mm-hmm. Dominican Republic is a country. Okay.
They might speak Spanish. They might be a little lighter than the rest of us.
There are Africans in Africa that speak Spanish. I believe the country is Guyana is right above Senegal, right there next to Senegal. They actually speak Spanish there. I think he's trying to justify how his penis feels right now. You see what I'm saying? See, here's the thing about these dudes, these pro-black dudes, and this is why I hate that, you know, like I hate that you have some of these people who are really in it for the paper who took over the pro-black movement because it actually meant something back in the day. Now it's just people trying to come up. They like the modern day preachers. And I just don't like people fooling my people, man, like that. That's something that bothers me. Hey, get your money, but, you know, don't. See, here's the thing, Black Samurai. Black men already had a reputation of liars. So when you get a dude like this gassing these bras up, you understand what I'm saying? And he's telling them everything they want to hear, and then he turned out to be a liar just like the rest of them. That's an even bigger letdown. At least with me, you understand? I tell them the truth. I'm here to hurt your feelings. You see what I mean? One thing all three of my sons agree on is that daddy is mean. And if they was all here right now and they were here earlier, our daddy is mean because I tell them the truth. I don't hold back. It is what it is. I'm going to hurt your feelings. I still love you, but I'm going to tell the truth. See, you got people like Dr. Umar Johnson. He going to lie to these women, make them feel a certain kind of way, and then let them down. And then we all got hell to pay. Look at Derek Jackson. He went from being a prince, they shining prince, to just another lying, cheating black dude. And they just threw him back in the corner. And so it makes all of us look bad. Your Derek Jacksons, your Dr. Boyce Watkins, your Steve Harveys, all of these black dudes who are lying to these women getting this paper, lying to black women getting this money. At the end of the day, when they fall from grace, it makes us all look bad. That's why we need to just call these dudes out every time, because we recognize the game. But go ahead, bro. What would you like to add to that?
Well, what I like to add is, after they tarnish their reputation on their side, being a Pan-African or whatever they claiming, and now they trying to move on to our side with the passport role and try to be like us. I think he's seen the light because he went over there and he had a good taste, and you seen a smile on his face. His eyes was real bright, and and I'm like, Umar, okay, you want to dibble and dabble this, but what about all the people that roll with you? What about all the people that gave you money for that school? And then what about the sisters? You got a lot of sisters over there in the Pan-African side of it. They kind of, I think, if they seen Umar with that video, he kind of lost with them over there, because I'm like, you bigging up in these women, but what about the women that donated with money with you and all your events and roll with you?
Yeah, man. See, that's the problem. And look, you guys, the link to the chat room is in the chat. Link's open. If y'all want to come through. Somebody, if y'all see the link, man, make sure you hit the link and come on in. So my thing is, bro, people like this are dangerous because it further divides black men and black women here in America. It further divides us. Only thing, when you come in my channel, you got to cam up. We don't do you got to cam up when you come in here. Oh, and another thing, YouTube is like unsubscribed like 40 or 50 people from my channel. Please check and see if you're still subscribed to the channel. I'm not going anywhere. I know a lot of people are saying, I'm going to Rumble. I ain't going to Rumble. I ain't about to do all that shit, man. This is going to pass. At some point, YouTube is going to realize we better cut it out, or we're going to start losing followers. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here talking to you all. This works. This is where y'all at. Just make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. We still want to try to get to 100,000. And at some point, I'll do the numbers and see if this monetization thing works or not. I'd rather you guys pay me directly via Cash App than, do the super chat thing, because they take 30%. And that I'm just, that's like me working 10 days and only getting paid for 7. What's the point? That's me working. Here. I work for 30 days and I only get paid, for 21. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I'd rather y'all pay me directly in Cash App. I'll pay my own taxes. But anyway, back to this thing with Dr. Umar Johnson. The other thing I wanted to point out, he is adamant about how Dominican women are African. They are African queens, but they say they're not. You see what I'm saying? So let's go through the process of understanding why they say they're not. Did you learn something from those statistics and that history of the DR that I got out? What did you pick up from that, man?
That is accurate, because mainly when I went to the DR, I did my little research as well, and mainly, the Aboriginals down there, the Taino Indians, and I know the European, the colonization of the European nations and stuff like that, and the slave trade. I know about that, but when I went down there, to me, what was important, like he said, like I know Umar was saying, oh, they look black and they're from Africa, but they don't recognize that. They more recognize from the European aspect, from the colonial aspect of it than African. You know what I'm saying? And then, to me, it's like, okay, if you were a dark, like I sort of blended in by being a lighter hue. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Speaking Spanish. But
here's what I want you to understand. They don't see themselves as white or black. When you look at their driver's licenses, their driver's license may say Indio. It may say mestizo. It literally has a category. Like, they have dozens of subcategories for their ethnic phenotype based on how they look. And so it's not black. Now, they do have 11% of the population which considers themselves black. They have 16% of the population which considers themselves white. So all of these people don't consider themselves white. It's only 16% of the population there considers themselves white. So the 72% consider themselves mixed, mestizo, Indio. You see what I'm saying? So we're still trying to put categories on these people. No, 11% of us say we're black, 16% of us say we're white, and the rest of us are some variation in between. And so that's what we as Americans have to understand. Now, here's the thing. In that 72%, the vast majority of them have African DNA, but the vast majority of them also have European DNA. The crazy thing is they also have Taino DNA, but it's a very small percentage because many of them died off. Most Dominicans are European and African. That's it, with a small percentage of Taino or Native American DNA. But the bottom line is they don't consider themselves black or white, African or anything else. They have a category. It's on their driver's license. If you want to know what it did, and they don't have time to sit up there and explain it to you. You see what I'm saying? It's right there. What is your driver's license? It says I'm Indio. I met a young girl. She's mulatto. Another one, she's mestizo. It's on their identification cards. So that's what they do. But here's the thing. Umar is now trying to impose on these women to be black queens, and we're not African queens. Just because his penis says it's time for them to be African queens so he can exploit that. What are your thoughts on that, man? The hypocrisy and how quickly he changed based on his own selfish needs. What do you think about that?
I think it's kind of distasteful in his regard, because I looked up, like I thought on his Pan-African side, like he was like really into it. He was going to build a school. He was going to teach the children. He's going to, build a strong black nation, like he preached. Now you see this, it's sort of tarnishing his image. It's like, who's going to take you serious now, Umar? Like, I think it kind of broke him when he took the picture with Suki, and then when Suki did that, like a couple days later, all within the golf course, all hugged up with the white dudes. I think that kind of it hurt his pride a little bit. That's why I think he trying to went down there and try to change his look. But I'm telling you, Umar, it's not going to work, because first of all, the Dominicans, they ain't playing all of that stuff that we talking about here in America. And if you're going to go down there and do all that, I know some Dominicans, I know some Americans that moved down there, and it told me it's some Americans that went down there that was there, that came there millionaires, they left broke.
Oh, so, yeah, man, it's easy to trick off of.
Right.
Man, look, let me tell you, Dominican women are some of the most beautiful, tantalizing, sexual women in the world. And they're soft and they're sweet. And you just want to spend money on them, take care of them, because they just, especially coming from America, they just know how to get you. You see what I'm saying? But my thing is, brother, it's over. If you got the Pan-African community now finally realizing that, hey, your options are better everywhere else other than here in the United States, if you want a black woman, then it's over. It's been over, but now it's inevitable. The admixture is going to be what it is. It's over. There's always going to be, and look, I've been telling people this for years now, there's always going to be Africans, people of African descent in the United States. But what we categorize as foundational Black Americans, that culture is going to dissipate. It's going to dissipate because you got people who are marrying women from other cultures, and they're going to bring those children. Those children are not going to be culturally foundational Black Americans. It's just going to be different. It is what it is. And none of these guys, is 51% of Black men who aren't married and don't have children. Are you just supposed to expect it to sit around and die and never have children? This lock that Black American women are supposed to have on Black men. No, I want you men to go out and have kids. I want you to have children. I tell my own sons that. I'm trying to get my son a prom date next year. I know y'all laughing at that, but I want him to have a young Black girl on his arm. You understand? I want my 17-year-old son to have a prom date who is of African descent. I don't care if she's African from Africa. I don't care if she's Nigerian. I don't care if she's Black American. I want him to have a Black girl on his arm. And they know that. My boys are going to HBCUs, Texas Southern University, because I want them to be introduced to Black women, because I want my grandchildren to be Black, because I love being a Black man, and I want them to love being a Black man as much as I do. And I want my grandchildren to love being Black men and Black women. Do you know daughters, your granddaughter? But that's the way you do it. But I'm not going to limit them to just Black American if the pool of women here are not suitable to be wives. And I think that's just a wise decision. You know what I'm saying, bro? But yeah, but I'm not going to be a hypocrite either, like Dr. Umar Johnson. And just because the wind changed, you know what I'm saying, and I find myself in Sasua, oh, it's okay now. And that's what I hate about these pro-blacks, man. It's whatever they say is okay. You know, I hate that, man, and I hate the fact that
you see how they move the goalposts, like you know, saying, "Oh, it's not working over here. Let's go over here." And if it's not working here, let's go over here. Come on, man. Like, you gotta be serious at some point.
It shows them for what I've been saying they are, and their opportunities. They're scoundrels, man. They're scoundrels, and that's why I tell you, brothers, I'm not your leader. I want you brothers to lead yourselves. You understand me? Somebody type lead yourselves in the chat room. All my guys are in here, man. That's where we at, man. But anyway, Black Samurai, man, this is my first night back after about a month. And so I'm not going to go too far into this, man. I appreciate everybody coming through, man. Let's see if we got some more super cash apps. I gotta get my cash apps. And if y'all haven't joined my other channel, man, y'all make sure y'all go join the Blizzard King. I've been giving it to them over there on the Blizzard King channel, man. For those of you guys who who check that out, man, I've been giving it to them over there, man. And a lot of we're starting to diversify what we're doing here on this page and that page. And I may monetize that page for a little while. We'll see, just to get it popping. But fellas, the whole moral of this story is that you got to lead yourselves. You got to do what's in your own best interest. Because these so-called leaders that you have, these pan-African leaders, these Black nationalists, they full of shit. I mean, let's just be open and honest with it. They full of shit. Until their money gets low, until their penises decide it's another direction they want to go in, you know, man, they that's how they are. You know, and I recognize that, and that's why I don't try to tell you, brothers. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to point you in the right direction. I'm here to give you the best advice I can because I love you, and that's my sole purpose for being here. And I want you, brothers. I give you Black men the same advice I give my own children. And you know, I got 3 Black boys that I love dearly, man, and I don't want nothing bad to happen to them, and I give them the best advice I can. But here's the thing. If y'all want to do a one-on-one consultation, anybody want to do a one-on-one consultation, man, hit me up at sperlingdennis@gmail.com. Make sure y'all do that. I'm actually going to put the email at the bottom. I talk about a lot of things, travel, finances. I get a lot of advice. I helped this one young man stay in medical school, and then I helped this other dude. I've helped several dudes escape a bad marriage. You know what I mean? You know, I kind of set them up to help them escape those bad marriages at the end so they can go ahead and restart their lives. Been married 2 or 3, 4, 5 years. It ain't working. 6, 7 years, it ain't working. And you like, damn, I want to leave. But if I leave before these kids get older, it might not be what you think. You might have to pay something, but you can slide out. You see what I'm saying? And with your dignity and not break the bank. So if you want to do a one-on-one consultation, maybe you just want to do a one-on-one consultation about traveling overseas, more than happy to help you do that. The other thing is, you know, the books are for sale. I do have books. You guys asked me to buy more books. I got books. You can email me at sperlingdennis@gmail.com. Books. You can see my journey to what we call this red pill thing, man. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm here for it. And of course, man, I'm always here. I'll be back tomorrow. I try to do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I kind of leave Thursday open for my kids, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But I'm going to try to be consistent because, you know, I got my sons. All my sons are together. This is a rare occasion. It's a long fought battle that I had to get all my boys with me, man. And, you know, I just want to kind of enjoy it. And I didn't want to be too tired every day to take my young one to do his little practices and whatnot that I needed him to do so we can get him together, man. And you know, the thing is, and I might need to talk about that, man, because I think that's helpful because a lot of you guys, you're in a situation where the women in your life have confiscated your children and you got to figure out how do I bring this boy, you know, how do I bring this boy into masculinity? And so, some things, it's a lot that I could talk about, man, because I've had that, this is, I'm going to show y'all, this is a beautiful picture I got here. This is my brother here, Austin Sperling. And of course, my oldest son, Dennis Sperling. Roman, you guys know him as the Crimson Sun. All three of these guys are black belts. And then this is my youngest boy and me in the back. We all study under the same, master teacher, but I learned Kaiju Kembo and they take Shotokan karate, which is a different form of martial arts. But man, all of this is part of masculinity training. You see what I mean? Church, we go to church, man. They see me again. Like I said, I lead from the front. I'm never going to ask my sons to do something I wouldn't do. So that's why I jump on in there and say, let me go ahead and get some of this, it'd be good, man. If you want to do a consultation, you got a young boy, man, you trying to raise him, you might be a young father. I've been there before, man. I've been there before. But other than that, man, Black Samurai, man, it's always good to have you up in here, man. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to have another hot topic. It's a lot of stuff. What'd you say?
I said, congrats on your blue belt.
Hey, yeah, baby. I've been rolling, man. Uncle D is rolling. Somebody type Uncle D rolling in the chat room. Yeah, man. Thank you so much, man. But look, I don't want to drag this thing out. I'll be back. Uncle D is coming back bigger and better than ever. If y'all appreciate what I'm doing, man, all you got to do is contribute to the Cash App. If you learn something, maybe you didn't watch this live, that's okay. The Cash App is right there at the bottom of the screen. Show your appreciation. If you learn something, you see what I'm saying? If you learn something, go ahead and contribute, man. That's the way you show me. I get the little Cash Apps and the messages and whatnot, and I appreciate that, man. But in the meantime, buy these books, man. Help me get rid of some of these books. I'm going to keep ordering the books as long as y'all want to buy them. But help me get them out when we get them in. Thank you, Black Samurai. I appreciate you, man. Big shout out to everybody who contributed to the Cash App. I'm going to catch up with y'all tomorrow night. We're going to have another hot topic. We're going to talk about it. We're going to enjoy ourselves. God bless you. I love you. And as I always say at this time, this is Uncle D, and I'm out.